What's up, everybody? It's Jasmine. So, as you guys all know, coronavirus is now an epidemic from what the World Health Organization has said. And in Italy, everybody's in quarantine. In places like Denmark, they are closing the borders. In Norway, schools are closed down. So, the response to the spread of coronavirus has been quite intense. And as somebody who lives in Sweden, which is beside Norway, we would expect our response to be quite similar to Norway. But what's really weird and kind of scary is that in Sweden, the health authorities are really seeming to downplay the seriousness of coronavirus. So in Sweden, there are over 700 cases of confirmed of coronavirus, and there have been 2 deaths so far. So it seems to be spreading at a similar rate to what has happened in Norway. But in Sweden, the health authorities, they are almost refusing to allow schools to close. They're saying that there isn't any point. The spreading of the epidemic and the virus itself is not to do with kids, really. That's basically what they're saying, is that because it's been spread mostly between adults, that there's no reason to shut schools. They'll also, when the virus first started and when it really had a heavy impact on Italy, they didn't demand that people who had been to high-risk places go into quarantine. They said if you feel fine, you should go to work, even though there was talk of there being a period where you could have the virus and not feel sick and still be spreading it around. So the Swedish authorities have really done the opposite of what other countries have done, and they're basically saying to carry on as usual. And I think it's difficult to know what the right thing to do is, but at the same time, the health authorities have really shown that they don't really know what they're talking about, because in the beginning they said that, oh, there's no way that it's going to leave China. They said that, and then they also said that the peak of the spread will be on Monday. Well, now it's Saturday, and it has continued to spread at increasing rates. So they have shown that they do not know what they're talking about. I think that it's really concerning and worrying because it just shows that Sweden isn't prepared to handle this sort of thing. Not only because it's going to be difficult to have all the supplies that hospitals will need and things like that, but if they're not even taking it seriously, then how are they even going to know what the goal is, you know? So for example, I work at a hospital and there has been disinfectant going missing, so people are stealing that, and you know, there's concern about the supplies of things like disinfectant, face masks and things like that. So, you know, these are concerns that aren't really being answered by the government and the health authorities, and if they don't really take it seriously, then how are we actually going to be able to handle the spread of the virus and the increase in demand on the hospitals when these people have to go to the hospital because they're too sick? You know, there are realities here that are going to happen that they seem to be ignoring. Like, the reality is that the coronavirus is more severe than a normal flu, which means that hospital visits are going to increase and that there are going to be a higher demand on the healthcare system. So if they're not even recognizing that, then they're obviously not going to be prepared for that, which means that the chances of this turning into a huge disaster is increased. So yeah, I would rather be living in Norway right now, because it seems like they're taking it way more seriously and that the chances of it being a complete disaster are lower because they're taking it seriously right now and not waiting for it to prove that it's really, really dangerous. I just wanted to give you guys like an update on what it's like here in Sweden and how that's different from neighboring countries. That's basically it for me today, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm really interested to hear, other people's experience about it, because it just seems so weird how Sweden is reacting to it, like not asking people to quarantine themselves and just like, oh, it's fine, go to work and things like that. It just seems really, really ridiculous. Anyway, catch you all next time. Hey, door.